So yeah, we've had non-stop Israeli Air Force flying over our heads since October 7th. Israeli Air Force is working double overtime. But even still, I mean, Major Shams, you know, I mean, the Iron Dome can't protect Major Shams. Major Shams sits on the border. So what are they going to do? You know, you can't...
You don't even have a second.
You don't even have a second, you know. By the time you reach for the button, it's too late. But it's. I mean, we had buses going from here to the funerals. Very, very sad. If I didn't have to work, I would have gone. It's very, very sad. I mean, there are no Palestinians up here, and you hear people say, "Oh, that's what you get for occupation." We did not occupy the Golan. You know, there are no Syrians living here. There are Druzim. There are Circassians, Cherkessim. There are even Bedouins, which I was surprised to see. The Golan is beautifully multicultural. We've never had any terrorist attacks. But Kiryat Arba gets hit hard a lot. There were alarms going off all Shabbat.
Kiryat Shmona.
Kiryat Shmona gets hit a lot.
Are there people who still remained in their homes in Kiryat Shmona?
I think that, well, in the beginning they had voluntary evacuation, and I think at one point it became mandatory. And of course I speak to people from Kiryat Shmona. They live around here. And a lot of them are not moving back.
Yeah, even after the war.
Because they're like, you know, what are we going to do? We're on the border. Unless Hezbollah is gone.
Right.
You know, I totally understand that.
Right. I mean, part of my messaging I'm always telling people is this war is not over, really over, until everyone's able to return to their homes without any fear of October 7th ever happening on the southern border or the northern border. Meaning, even if there's a ceasefire or a UN resolution, whatever, that war's not over. That's just a lull.
I'll tell you, when the war started out, my wife and I talked about, you know, what are we going to do? It's our kids. We're not, you know, we're not zealots. And I told her, I think this is the safest place in the world for Jews. We see what's going on in America. We're both American citizens. We got passports for all our kids. I don't know, man. I don't know. I look at what's going on in America. You know, maybe if we moved out to Texas and lived with all the Southern Baptists, you know, who had shotgun racks in their pickup trucks, I'd feel safe. But I come from New Jersey. My wife comes from Long Island. One day those people are going to get up out of bed and they're going to see Palestinian flags marching down their street. It's a scary proposition. So far as Israel, I mean, in the beginning, it was all down south. Like I said, we lived in Gush Etzion. That's scary, you know. There's one of the... I don't know. I don't know if the Arabs in Gush Etzion are going to get up out of their bed one day and start stabbing. You don't know. And you can't live like that. And if you would ask me like 2 months ago, would I ever evacuate? I would say no, but I'm not so quick anymore. I wouldn't say no. I might. I could see myself evacuating. I would first, you know, send my wife and kids someplace safe. I don't know where that might be, but I could see that happening now. It rips my guts out to say that. It really does, because this is my home. You know, I moved from America to Israel. It's not like I picked a pretty place to live and now it's not so pretty anymore. I chose to live in Israel, and now what am I going to do? Leave?
How long have you guys been living in Katsrin?
I lived in Gush Etzion. I've been in Israel since '91 for 32 years. My wife and I got married in Bat Ayin. I was in Bat Ayin for 14 years, and we've been here for I think 11 years. And yeah, it's like, I mean, if you walk around, you've been around Katsrin is like, one of the reasons I moved here is it looks like where I grew up in New Jersey. It really does. It's, you know, trees, suburban, cars stop and wait for you when you want to cross the street. You know, you go to a store, you know the lady behind the counter. They tell you, oh, get this, it's on sale. I love it. It's a small town.
Right. Have there been residents of Katsuyun who have evacuated also over the past few months?
Evacuated, no. Have there been residents who left? I have a friend or two who took unplanned vacations outside of Israel. I don't fault them. It's not something I would do, and it's not widespread. The army is up here. They set up a, civilian kind of army thing here. I ride my bicycle a lot. When I go out, I see, not so much anymore, but they were doing serious exercises with stuff I didn't usually see. Like anti-tank missiles and rockets mounted on armored personnel carriers. Serious stuff that I didn't see when I was in reserve duty. So they're definitely gearing up. Part of the problem is we knew from the outset that when they're finished down south, they're going to move up north. When they finish with Hamas, they're going to deal with Hezbollah. I was kind of, and it's in the back of my head, but I'm kind of putting it off. But I don't even know what that looks like. I mean, it's not the same as Gaza. Gaza is not.
Different war.
Yeah, Gaza's not a country. Who cares? Go in, And we were in there. We used to be ours. So you go in, and they're Hamas. Get rid of them. Hezbollah is part of the.
It is Lebanon.
It is Lebanon.
Well, that's one of the things we talk about. That it's not. It's wrong to call it just Hezbollah or Iranian proxy. It is Lebanon. Lebanon is the enemy here. Hezbollah
they're a third of the parliament.
Yeah,
they're part of the government. It's like saying we're going to war against the Democratic Party. What does that mean? You're going to war against America. We go to war against Hezbollah. We're going to war against Lebanon.
But thankfully, we have had the politicians who said, yes, Lebanon will get hit. Oh, we have to see it in action.
I'm like, every time I see a tanker in APC, I freak out because it's okay, let the planes fly. But to think that we go in there, on the ground, that's a scary proposition. That's a different story.
Listen, you're talking to someone who served up north, who served in the Second Lebanon War, who was part of the Northern Command.
Which was not pretty.
Well, you're talking to someone who's been vocal about how horrible that war was. It was horrible.
Was that the war when they suddenly discovered the Cornet missiles? The Cornet rockets? No, that was the one after that.
No, but they didn't let us shoot at the terrorists while they were shooting at mosques because they're coming from mosques. It was a war when the politicians and the head of the army were telling the whole Israeli people, oh, we have a 10-kilometer security barrier, and then we had our own fellow soldiers stuck 500 meters from the border fence, and they wouldn't let us go out until nighttime to retrieve them because it was too dangerous. So there was no security barrier. They were sending all of our soldiers 15, 20 kilometers in, and then they were stuck because we couldn't get them supplies. There was a war that the army was not ready for. Did not know how to fight.
And I kind of feel like, we all know a lot of soldiers, and we all know someone who's been touched by this. And God bless him a million times over. But once you get up to the level that you're not standing next to the guy in line to get your food in the tent to go out to battle, once you get above that level, the officers are already messed up.
My audience knows. I call them they're already neutered.
Right, they're already more into politics. They are into fighting the war. And, it's not nice in Gaza. Sure, you can get over it, or not. We're losing way more soldiers, getting way more casualties than we should. But if you play that game with Hezbollah, you're going to be losing a lot of soldiers and a lot of civilians, like we saw yesterday. And so, as a civilian, I also did the army. I was a chovesh kravi. I was a combat medic. Not really a great medic, and not really great combat, but
you did your part.
Yeah, they called me. I went. I pretended. But you can't play with Hezbollah. And that's got me very scared. That's got me very, very concerned. I mean, that's what happened. You know, there's no way they should have gotten rockets off it. I mean, anything above ground should be flattened. You know, and as a civilian, I do not have faith in the government. I love Tzahal. I don't trust the officers. And I certainly, and everyone in Israel knows that as soon as things get calmed down, Netanyahu's gone. I'd like to believe that Israelis are smart enough to know that Gantz should be gone too, and that Gallant should be gone. These are all guys who are in charge of security. They should be gone. We should say thank you, try to mean it as best we could, because there's a lot not to be thankful for, and we should get rid of them. Who's going to replace them? I don't know. I don't care. That's what happened in '73 when the army when the government messed up. That's what should happen now. And God willing, I mean, Netzach Yisrael, we'll get over this.
Yeah, we're going to get out of this. And then, again, something that I tell everybody is that we're winning this war because of the soldiers and the officers on the ground. The top senior command, that they're the ones messed up. They're the ones the ones sent to Harvard. Yeah. The progressive values overtake them. They then take orders from America.
Oh, we have to make nice with the... We don't need to make nice with anyone.
Yeah, they're totally neutered. They're totally... They forgot that they're not... They forgot that their true purpose is to win and protect.
Joe Biden gives money to Iran so they can kill Jews.
But no, I'm a big believer seeing the soldiers on the ground. The next generation of leaders are the ones who are fighting on the ground
That's what Moshe Feiglin said. And also, who's the British fellow?
Richard Kemp?
No. Who also should get 1,000,000 blessings.
Right.
No.
Douglas Murray?
Douglas Murray. That man, I'd take a bullet for him. They both have said in their own way that we're a crappy generation. We gave these kids Oslo. We gave these kids Gush Katif. We gave them PC.
Ran away from southern Lebanon, pulled out with their tail between our legs.
Leaving IDF uniforms there. But this generation, God bless them. And I look at my kids, they're pre-army. And just like, they're, you know, it used to be like, oh, my kids are so full of chutzpah. They're so... My kids are getting ready to welcome the Mashiach. They are that strong. They are that focused on being on Yisrael. And they're not, you know, particularly Zionist, Datilumi, and you wouldn't think of it till you sit down and talk with them. And they're awesome. And especially the guys in the army, they're glowing. They're standing up. The rest of the world has a crisis with their young people. Their young people are, you know, they don't know if they're boys or girls. They don't, you know. And we've got a generation, God bless them. So on that level, yeah, I'm not worried.
And I'll leave you with this story, because I have 2 boys in Gaza right now.
God bless them.
One in reserves and one is regular service. And they both went in with Beit HaMikdash Jewish temple patches and Mashiach patches. All right? The one is in his regular service, while the high commanders forbid him from wearing it and having his fellow soldiers wear those. But my son in the reserves, he said he didn't have enough patches to hand out to all the soldiers. They were just picking it up like candy and putting on their uniforms.
A lot of soldiers are because they go in and they see the pictures of the Dome of the Rock in the houses
every
in Gaza.
Single
like,
home.
I guess this is what this is about.
Even
they call it the Aqsa Flood.
Right. That's what their war. Their wars about Jerusalem. There's wars about taking all of Israel away from us. So they know what they're fighting for.
Yeah.
And it's our leaders who hide from us what we're fighting for, but our soldiers on the ground, religious, secular, right wing, right, left, center, they all see it with their own eyes. So they're coming back with that reality to society. So it's going to make a difference. We still have a process, but it's going to make a difference.
I think this is the end of the 40 years in the desert. Because 67 was the beginning of the time in the desert where we went up and we said, no, we don't want it. God said, you don't want it. Okay, we need a new generation.
That's a good analogy.
You know, it took a little longer than 40 years. But that generation is gone. And I think also it's amazing now. It used to be, if you stood up and said, we have to resettle Gush Katif, you'd go to jail. You'd be put in jail for saying that, just for saying it. Now they're discussing it in the Knesset.
Now my kids know when they're fighting in Gaza, they're on the lookout for the prime real estate for us to buy to be able to build homes there on the beach.
Beachfront
Gaza homes.
Yeah.
100%. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share this with you, right? Because on our way here to Katzrin, we stopped at Mitzveh Gadot. On the way up. That's the Syrian bunker overlook of the Galil. And I told people in the video I made, the Syrians used to be here.
Yeah.
They used to shoot rockets and shoot at us down below whenever they wanted. Today, not only are the Syrians not here, the Jews resettled the Golan Heights. So Iran, you think by shooting us from Lebanon that you're going to defeat us? No. One day you're not going to be in southern Lebanon, and we're going to have Jewish settlements in southern Lebanon. It's going to be northern Israel. It's only a matter of time. It's like, I call it the fusion of spirituality and reality. Like, that's the only way to protect Israel, by us having the geographical defined border of the Litani River south as part of Israel, which basically is the biblical border. So we're going to be seeing the biblical border stretch. We're not there yet, but we're seeing the seeds being planted.
There's a lot of nice real estate that has a lot of Jewish history.
That's right. It's beautiful out there. Well, thank you so much for allowing us to visit you, Eliyahu.
Sure.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.